Hello, welcome to Ed Media. Today, we will complete our BFDIA Finalist duology videos, as today we will be doing an overview of the finalists we have in BFDIA, Book and Needle. Today, I'll be sharing my opinions over each of them, so let's get started.
Two players remain, Book and Needle. After 24 episodes and over 3 years of competing, one of them will finally claim Dream Island.
Our first finalist is Book. She is a BFDIA newbie and a member of Free Smart. She is a character who definitely had trouble winning immunity, but towards the end I think she ended up redeeming herself. Book started off as a regular schmegular contestant. She showed interest in joining Pencil's alliance, and it wasn't until episode 5 where she seceded from Team No Name with Pencil and her alliance to join Free Smart. This was due to Golf Ball acting way too bossy and limiting their freedom. From there on, she acted as the brains of the team, as she always provided facts and logic to her team by suggesting many ideas or providing critical information needed for an idea. Despite this, she was seen as an alternate to the team, which kinda sucked because she was a really important member to the team. She helped a lot and Pencil saw her as a great team member too. But as more and more alliance members were eliminated, Needle was added, which helped Book form a friendship with her too. But I still feel Pencil and Book grew close too, as Book remained loyal to Free Smart. It wasn't until Pencil was eliminated that Book found herself in a tough spot. She chose to continue playing for Free Smart, however she was the sole member as Needle left too. This began the storyline of Book being bad at challenges. Basically, since episode 14, Book had not won a single challenge. It got to the point that she was made fun of by the other contestants, as they saw her as someone who was not skilled and not a threat, and saw her as someone who would drag them down if they paired up. Was it because Book was slow? No, it definitely was not. Was it because Book was weak? She wasn't the strongest, but she definitely was not weak. Was Book just unskilled? No, she definitely had pretty great skills. Well, was she dumb? No, she had a lot of information to be presented. Well then, why was she so bad at the challenges? It was really because, unlike the other contestants, Book had sympathy. Well, yes, some of the characters did have sympathy. It was mostly bottled by the competition or reserved for certain people. Book was just sympathetic for everyone, no matter how much they hurt her. While at Merge she had no teammates, she still looked out a lot for Needle. And she had great dynamics too, since her looking out for Needle made for a great friendship, along with her having a fun one-sided rivalry with Ben. These two probably had the best rivalry because it was just so hilarious. And her exchange with the other Final Fivers were also great too. She was the most empathetic. She did win immunity at one point, but only because Needle gave it to her, I guess as a payback for looking out for her in previous challenges. However, Book continued her loyalty to Needle as she sacrificed herself to save Needle when she thought Tennis Ball would kill her. In the final challenge, she won the prize and was the only contestant who was able to recover contestants. This meant if Needle or Tennis Ball died, she could easily just not recover them to prevent them from winning the challenge. However, she never did. When Tennis Ball died, she still recovered him. And her strategy for the final challenge was to help every eliminated contestant, so that means to do their challenge. That means Book attempted the most challenges out of everyone. And she was behind a lot of times due to her helping everyone. So yeah, despite Book being in the final challenge, the most important one since this grants immunity to the finals, she continued being empathetic despite it costing her advantages. So when Book arrives at Pin's challenge, Pin questions her about why she is doing this. So Book finally explains her reasonings. Yes, the game means a lot to her and she'd love to win, but she doesn't want to become a villain to do that. Because what if she becomes a villain and still loses? She'd rather lose with her dignity. Honestly, massive respects to Book. Book isn't just a Mary Sue. Obviously she wants to win the game, but being a villain is just something she doesn't want to become. She doesn't want to hurt others nor become an ugly person on the inside. Even if it's the only way to win, she'd avoid that since she has a lot of respect for herself. Yes, she may not be the strongest character ever, but Book has a lot of respect for herself. She knows she has dignity, and she wouldn't want to lose that because she'd end up becoming someone she's not, and it could all be for nothing if she lost. So yeah, really great for Book. And in the final moments in the challenge, she used all her prizes from the challenges she competed to make a hang glider, as it was the only way to get to Woody. She was able to disarm him and she tried but failed to negotiate, but she still had the rope for Donut's challenge, which showed a mark where she was supposed to tug it at. So Donut gave her the greatest prize of all. The island itself that you must step on. This caused everyone to have an equal chance at winking. But with Coiny shattering the glass road with a drill due to Book moving out of the because of her trauma from it because, let's be honest, she died a lot from that drill, they all plummeted. Book appeared to be dead from the fall which left Tennis Ball and Needle to fight for the win. But with them distracted from the struggle, Book nabbed the victory. This was the first challenge she won all by herself, so in the penultimate episode, she was ready to become a finalist. But everyone quit on the game due to the chaos it causes, so this caused Book, Needle, and Tennis Ball to become the hosts for the game. Book's job was to rally the votes. The episode mostly focused on Book going through extreme lengths to retrieve the votes, and it did go on for too long, but Book's final task was to follow the twin blue stars. Book went through an intense journey but she had to travel through time and space in order to meet Jack to get the votes. This was definitely the highlight of the episode as Book had to go through a lot to come here and the scene of her travel king to the stars was amazing. Her scene with Jack was great too. She retrieved the votes, so the cake at stake commenced. With Tennis Ball eliminated, she and Needle are now the finalists and only one of them awaits the title of winner of BFDIA.
2 players remain, Book and Needle. After 24 episodes and over 3 years of competing, one of them will finally claim Dream Island.
Needle is our last finalist for BFDIA. She is a Season 1 veteran and was present on a lot of teams but the main one she is known for is Woe Bunch, Free Smart, and Fry's Smart. Needle is known as strong and competitive character, basically a powerhouse, making her a threat to the game. Needle had a really rough beginning. She didn't have a voice actor and only reused lines from the previous season, so all she did was slap people when they would call her needy. But that didn't mean she didn't do much as she still participated in the challenges. However, episode 5 is when she started getting more lines and had a lot of hilarious moments in the challenge. And from then on, she acted as a dedicated member to her team. While she didn't have a lot of highlights, she still remained as a great team member as she could be counted on to be a great hand in the challenge. It wasn't until episode 12 where Free Smart had lost Ice Cube so they needed a new member. They had a girls only rule and the only girls who weren't in Free Smart were Pin, Golf Ball, and Needle. Pin was a sworn enemy of the team and plus she was insanely disabled. Golf Ball was also a sworn enemy of Free Smart and she was extremely bossy so that left Needle. Needle was forced onto Free Smart and was only seen as the lowest of the low by Pencil, so Needle tried her best to impress Pencil and become a full member of the team. This required an act of sacrifice. In the end of the challenge, Coiny asked Needle to help Woe Bunch since she's been a loyal member of them, and plus they were friends. But Needle decided she needed to do her act of sacrifice and won the challenge for her team instead of her friends. However, Pencil was unable to see this so Needle must commit another act of sacrifice to become a full member. In the next challenge, Needle gets paired up with a dead Pencil, and while Needle spends the first half of the challenge carrying around Pencil, she still commits to Free Smart and even enacts her act of sacrifice by giving Book and Ruby her jetpack. She is able to still get to the next island with her amazing skills and shows how much of a threat her team can be. She revives Pencil and both Free Smart pairs regroup and revive Bubble as well and continue the rest of the challenge as a unit. Needle provides a great hand to the Free Smart cause. On the final island, they must sing a song to win. Needle steps up and sings a really great song. A great highlight for her. This shows she can be a great asset to the team, and it was a really nice song and beautiful scene in general. However, conflicts arise as Bommy, a Woe Bunch member, is forced to team up with Needle, which causes old loose ends to come back as Bommy begins to antagonize her for leaving Woe Bunch and essentially being disloyal to Woe Bunch. Needle doesn't want to be considered this so she asks about her stays on Free Smart to Pencil, whom still hasn't seen her act of sacrifice. So now she's torn apart by both teams as she wants to be loyal to anyone but she's split apart. In the next challenge, tensions rise as Free Smart and Woe Bunch fight over her, so she tries pleading to everyone by being in both Free Smart and Woe Bunch. She participates in both teams by acquiring a sticky note that displays who she's playing for. This causes conflict with Pin and Pencil as they're both leaders of each team. Pin and Pencil both scold her for helping the opposing team when she does. It causes Needle to have to play tirelessly for both teams that she ends up getting Free Smart out. Woe Bunch loses as well, meaning she's up for elimination twice. Due to her having 2 voting slots, this almost causes her to get eliminated as her Free Smart self was in the bottom 2. She luckily survived but she still wanted to play for both. Book shows that Needle almost got eliminated because of this, so she should really choose one team. However, not only do both teams beg for her, other people begin to as well. That causes her to team up with Fries. While she's with him, she confesses that she'd be happy to work with Woe Bunch, but she felt she peaked with Free Smart. She confesses she'd be happy working with anyone, but she feels conflicted if she can. But Fries was not a great partner, so after the challenge, she seceded from Fries Smart. The next challenge begins and she's on a roll. As she has one more light left, she realizes she likes the idea of playing for herself rather than having loyalty to any team. This whole time she's concentrated on having loyalty to a team to the point that it almost got her eliminated. Now she'd rather show everyone who she truly is by playing by herself, with loyalty to herself, no one else to claim her. It was so great watching this unfold. So much time Needle wanted to have a label and loyalty with a team, so many groups she had to choose from that she ultimately chose herself and doesn't want to prove herself to anyone. She only wants to prove herself to herself, because that's the only option that truly matters. So from this point on she begins playing for herself. However, this doesn't exclude her from friendships despite her trying to break away from it. She manages to win a challenge for herself, which grants her great power to decide who's up for elimination. She watched Book's journey on trying to win, that after watching her fail, she offers her immunity. She also spared Tennis Ball due to him agreeing that he will do whatever she wants for the next challenge. After watching Coiny betray Pin, she checks up on him, to which he opens up to her. After she helps Coiny realize he wants to apologize to her, he tells her she's a great woe buncher, to which she doesn't want to be known for that. In the next challenge, she doesn't control Tennis Ball too much, but still has him do things. She is extremely competitive until the final run for the final price of land. Coiny continues gaslighting her into letting him win for Woe Bunch, but Needle doesn't want that label. For so long she wanted to be known for her loyalty to a team, now, she doesn't want it. It shows how she's grown to choose herself. She thwarts him, but Tennis Ball has the last laugh. In the final challenge, Needle skips all challenges and does a run towards the finish line. She doesn't try one until Pencil stops her asking her to do the challenge. But Needle refuses as she wants to play for herself. Pencil calls her out that it won't work due to Needle pushing everyone away. She can't win without asking for help. So Needle confessed she wants to play for herself because she was always known as someone on the sidelines, not herself. This is due to Needle always playing for a label such as a full Free Smart member, or a loyal Woe Bunch member, or even Tennis Ball's partner. She always played for someone else. She was never seen as her own. So if she plays for herself and wins, she can be known as the winner. But Pencil tells her that if that harpoons, then she will be all alone, which is pretty bad. It's better to have friends in the game, but Needle doesn't know how that feels. I guess that's because Needle has always competed for being a member of the team rather than being someone's friend. So Pencil continues her encouraging words by telling Needle it would be even more fun if she won with her friends, which is what the alliance was made for. I know this isn't about Pencil, but I'm so glad they included that line because this truly feels like Pencil. So Pencil convinced her to do her challenge, to which she gives Needle a free ride. Now that Needle has caught up, she and Tennis Ball team Ho to fight Woody. But with him disarmed, they both fight for the island. But when Book uses her prize, it's anyone's game for the island. But the glass road shatters. She and Tennis Ball both get up at the same time, which causes them to fight for the island, not knowing that Book is still alive, which allows her to win. Needle is scared for the results but soon finds out that the game is cancelled due to no one hosting. So they step up as hosts and Needle is tasked with baking a cake. With this, she gathers everyone up into a bakery in order to bake a cake. I guess Needle took Pencil's words to heart as she allows herself to revive help from her friends to do this final task. Things kinda go wrong with the wrong crowds mixing and Pencil's ignorance, but a giant yeast cake kidnaps everyone, so Needle is determined to save everyone. The cake is eventually sent to space with Evil Leafy turning out to be present and blocking Needle's cake. So Needle fights her in order to retrieve her cake. This was a damn good fight scene, animation was amazing and it really showed that Needle is a strong player. Needle retrieves the cake and reunited with everyone else to commence the cake at stake. At the ceremony, Needle survives and becomes the finalist along with Book to determine who will win BFDIA.
2 players remain, Book and Needle. After 24 episodes and over 3 years of competing, one of them will finally claim Dream Island.
So now that we have viewed over each character, what are my thoughts on them? Despite me definitely preferring other characters, I'd say we still got great finalists. While in concept I wouldn't like this being the finalist pair, but their development and relationships with other characters justify Book and Needle being a great finalist pair. Bonus points since Book and Needle were already a great friendship, as Book and Needle always were friends with them, looking out for each other with their free smart ties. One thing each character in this finalist pair has in common is their friendships with other characters. While Book remains kind to everyone as she can't bring herself to become a villain, she does this because of respect for herself, which is how she remains friends with many people. Needle on the other hand had to learn to become a friend as she competed most of the time being seen as a member of a team. Once she began playing for herself, she went about it the wrong way and pushed everyone else away. However, she can still play for herself without cutting ties, she can still have loyalty to herself while still being a friend. And she encapsulated that when she entrusted everyone to help her bake a cake. So really these center around their development with friendships and relationships with other characters, which is what this season is about. A central theme in BFDIA is the growing friendships and relationships between characters. One of the main stories this season was the Pin and Coiny story and how their complicated relationship led to them becoming best friends. FreeSmart was also a prominent part of the story as the Alliance finally became their own team, which this team had a story all about loyalty and stuff. Even Leafy, the final antagonist of the season, suffers from one thing, her lack of friends, which drives her to feeling alone and becoming crazy at the thought of having friends as shown in her challenge that she hosted. So this finalist pair is perfect for this season as they both had to learn many things about friendship and relationships, which this season greatly focused on and what Leafy, the final antagonist, suffers from the lack of. My final thought is my winner choice. Personally, I'd prefer if Needle won. But I wouldn't be too sad if she didn't win because Book is also a great winner choice. I love both of them but Needle's a favorite so I'm rooting for her, but I'm still glad she got this far. And that's my overview over the finalists of the BFDIA. Overall I'm greatly satisfied with the finalists we ended up with this season. Book went through great development to show off her respect for herself and her kindness for everyone. Needle was amazing as she had to learn to not win for labels, but to win for herself while still being a friend. This could be a great antithesis to Leafy, the final villain of the season and one who doesn't have friends. I'd prefer if Needle won but I predict Book will win, which I'm fine with either way. So thanks for watching. Like and subscribe por favor. Goodbye.